right, good morning, traders. Happy Tuesday morning. Quite the pre-market we got going on already. Good to see some new members in the stream this morning. Johnny, good to have you. Tej, welcome. Um, since we do have a couple of new members, I'm going to go over just the layout here just so you can get a little comfortable with what you're looking at. Let me jump into the chat here. Hi, morning, Viv. Tej, good to have you. Price Action Man, awesome. Very nice bounces on NQ. I just kind of posted that. But these are our price discovery continuation setups, and they played out to a T beautifully on NQ this morning. Both pre-market at 850. This is a 5-minute chart. And then again at the open, around 935, 940. Some incredible bounces to the upside. I took this one small size. So I'm only up like $100 here, and I'll go over that in a second. So for our newer members here, let me just go over this, and you can hear the squawk box in the background. That's live news, so I'm always in tuned to breaking news as it happens in the market. You guys also have that benefit of this stream. So in the top left, this is my hourly chart. The only thing I have on this hourly chart is the volume profile for the entire session. Really what this helps me see is the past couple of days and where the distributions have been built over the last few days, right? So it helps me see if we're still in value or we're breaking away from a previous value day where we're building a current big distribution. So this is kind of a macro picture of where we're at. Even more macro is this bottom left. This is the daily chart. This is NQ, by the way. It's a daily chart with a yearly weighted VWAP. Okay, so this is our daily candles, and I can see whether we're in value or in price discovery on a daily basis. Top right, this is my usual 5-minute chart. You'll find the initial balances on this, the session VWAP. I don't always look at volume profile for the open regular trading hours on this. I have it mostly on these screens back here, but I'll often drop it on here so everybody can see. Good morning, B Gravity. And then bottom right is the 30-minute chart. And on the 30-minute chart, I have a weekly anchored VWAP and a monthly weighted VWAP. This kind of gives me context on the short term, right? So we have a lot of things we're looking at here. Overall market, macro sense, kind of mid-range with our monthly and weekly VWAPs. You know, this is strong, obviously. We've broken out of the week value. We've re-entered value on the month, and now we're approaching VWAP on the month, all right? We can expect this to be a conflection point here. So that covers these charts. I have an index chart. I have energy where I look at oil and natural gas. The indexes, I'll look at ES, NQ, YM, the Dow, RTY, the Russell. I look at gold, copper, silver. The reason these each have their own tabs is because they all have different initial balance periods. I look at soybeans and corn, and I also look at Bitcoin. All right, I trade the Bitcoin futures. I don't trade Bitcoin itself, the micro Bitcoin futures. So when there's some really cool action happening in Bitcoin, we'll join that as well. All right, for the newer members, you know, if you're newer to trading, I definitely recommend trading smaller size. Definitely micros. Almost all of this has micros. All of these products have micros. Micro oil, micro gold, micro natural gas, micro silver, micro. The only thing that doesn't have micros is soybeans and corn, and they move very slow. Bitcoin also has micros. Okay, so that should kind of cover the house cleaning here. We're at yesterday's initial balance high here. So this is that level yesterday that we squeezed to. It sure looks like it wants to break out of here. You know, there's this, I would only be taking longs in the indexes up here, but they're kind of risky. We would be chasing. It's hard to manage risk, all right? If we got a retracement, Even just a pullback, we'd probably get stopped out. So I would be chasing personally up here. So I wouldn't take this trade. Some of you like to trade momentum and might go long through the break of yesterday's high, but that is not a setup for me. But this is very bullish behavior. We're up 4% on the index, on the NASDAQ. We're up almost 4% on the S&P, 3.5% on the Dow, and just over 3% on the Russell. Pretty much everything is up except for bonds. Everything's up. A lot of green. VIX is down. So that might have been a short-term intermittent bottom. It might have been the bottom. We won't know. I don't speculate. I don't call bottoms. I just trade whatever the price action is in front of me each day.
The ratings lowest US retail and consumer products sector.
For me, this is my Top Step X account. I'm currently trading 5 150K combines at Top Step. Most of them are up well over $5,000. The profit target is $9,000, so I'm more than halfway there to getting these funded. I took a couple of small scalps this morning. One was on MNQ. I caught this bounce here off of the, you can't see it here. I keep these pretty much naked for the most part, but I took this bounce off the upper VWAP band, so price continuation discovery long. And then I took a trade in copper. We built a distribution here. So I faded the value area extreme of this distribution, a lot of buyers here. And I just expected to go to the other side of the value area. Didn't hold on that long. That's that. That's where I'm at. Any questions, guys, before I start kind of scanning the markets for setups?
Heads up here, your trade representative Greg testifying on trade policy conference. So we do have a video. We'll put it out on the feed for you to watch.
Okay. Tish says, how can I learn how to read and execute this setup? So first, you're going to want to learn the setups. You should have my 4 core setups guide. If you don't have that, that's in the tools channel. You can grab that. So you need to learn the setups. Also in the get started channel, there is a quick start 3-day guide. It's kind of like homework where you should be at each day, especially if you're here for your first week. That'll allow you to kind of learn the setups, pick one, learn how to read it, go back test on charts. Post it in the chat as an example. One of the best ways to learn the setups is to look at previous sessions and spot what they looked like on the back test. That's the first. You know, obviously it's a lot easier in hindsight to be like, oh, here was a price discovery long, here was a fade value area extreme, here was a VWAP bounce. Now, it's a lot more difficult in real time, obviously. However, it all starts with recognize them on a basic already printed chart. Once you get to that level and you can easily, you know, the setups, then you'll start to be able to spot them in real time as the price action unfolds. Got a little bounce in natural gas. I was looking at to take this. I didn't. So theoretically, this was a VWAP bounce. What makes it a VWAP bounce is that we spent a lot of time out in price discovery. We re-entered value. Okay, so we had the return to value setup. This was on a break. We got no back test. And then we got the touch of VWAP. And if you took the touch of VWAP, you would have had a decent, you know, not very exciting at all. Too small of a bounce. If you were lucky, you stopped out at break even if you took that setup. Let's see what else is setting up. Russell is relatively weak. So you can see like ES and NQ are both very strong, high off the upper band. If we look at the Russell, we're still inside the bands on Russell. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, welcome. I stream for the first 30 minutes for free on YouTube, but the full stream is in the Discord server. Let's look at NQ. NQ very strong. See if we get a reaction at yesterday's IB high. That was yesterday's high after that massive squeeze. Let's see if we get another long opportunity. But there is no setup right here. I know it's hard to watch it kind of go up so much and not be involved, but that is what we call FOMO, ladies and gentlemen. And you FOMO into trades tends to not work out so well. You know, funny thing about trading is we get rewarded sometimes for bad behavior. We take that FOMO trade and we make money. We're like, yeah. And then we take it the next time, knowing that it's not a setup, that we're just kind of being impatient, and we lose a lot of money. Most times we lose money. Momentum trading is fun, and I'll take some momentum trades, but it has to be right. I mean, there's got to be some crazy action going on, and this is not it. I mean, this is kind of a grind up. Could be a trend day on NQ, absolutely. We are due for a relief rally. So technically, this is a bear market rally, guys. Bear market rally. We are in a bear market on NQ. Officially. Yeah, absolutely, V-Gravity. Patience is an edge in day trading. What's funny is, you know, I'm a product of the 80s and the 90s. So, you know, I grew up playing video games. And I treated trading like a video game for a long time.
Still to bring the budget resolution to the floor.
And it's not. There's a lot more. It's more like a strategy game than anything. It's not an action game, that's for sure. I felt like if I could just be fast enough, if I could just read price action fast enough, I could just scout my way. And that wound up being a losing endeavor. I still trade pretty fast, but nothing like what I thought was required. Waiting for good setups has changed my trading, especially knowing setups. Having specific setups that I'm looking for, they have a name, right? So if I can't name the setup, it's not a trade. I had a great mentor years ago who taught me that. So when I would review my trades with him, he'd be like, what trade is this? What do you call it? And I was like, you know, I don't know, there's a long. He'd be like, no, if you can't name the setup, it's not a trade. It's not a setup. So that's why I gave the setups names. That's why a lot of traders will have their, you know, their playbook. They have names. Some will come up with like fun names. You know, mine are kind of just descriptive. But that's how we know it's a setup. If we have a name for it, we know it's a setup. If I'm taking a trade, what am I calling it? This is a price discovery long. This is a fade value area extreme. This is a return to value. This is a VWAP bounce. Now I have my 4 core setups. I do have some additional setups that I don't talk about as much. They're not as good, but they work. Fading the IB extensions is one that I like. But you got to recognize the appropriate conditions for that. Sometimes it can grind right through those levels. On a day like today, it can absolutely do that. So about 15 minutes, we'll be setting up the initial balance here, and hopefully we get some more setups. Does look like natural gas is still trying to get a bounce here. Nope, can't do it. There was something that was close to a price discovery short on copper. Missed that one. That would have been a nice trade on copper. Back tested that IB low to the tick. Soybeans are bullish. Oil's kind of chopping around in value. Natural gas is returned to value. Gold is chopping around in value. Copper is in price discovery to the short side. Silver is very choppy in value. And we are building kind of a bit of a distribution up here in the indexes. Could be a little bit of a fade here. Would be a scalp. But it's so strong. You'd have to have tight risk. I wouldn't take it. So if we drop the distribution here. Okay, just being patient. I mean, we could be ready for, literally news to drop at any moment. Yesterday was
US stocks extend gains, S&P 500 up 4.02%.
NASDAQ's up 4 1/4. So we're at pretty much yesterday's highs after that huge squeeze.
US Treasury Secretary Besson to meet with Republican Party Study Committee tomorrow, according to Fox.
So, I mean, the only thing that we could possibly take is a fade value area extreme here. I mean, but the range is so small. Maybe get 20 points back to point of control, or just so strong.
US's gaze says not looking for tax increases, according to CNBC.
I mean, these aren't real. I mean, this is scalping opportunity here.
According to CNBC.
You gotta be super fast. And you can get caught off sides real easy. So, you know, the setup's taking place on a micro scale, you know, this distribution. So this is fade value area extreme. This is long value area extreme down here. Free breakout, price discovery long. So, you know, these are kind of like the micro scalp setups based on this distribution from the last 15 minutes.
Canadian dollar extends gains up as much as 0.7% at 1.4145 per US dollar.
Like it's trying to break out. I mean, that could be another 100-point move out of here up until VWAP. Morning, Eric. Kind of just going straight up on the indexes, so I'm not chasing. If we get some seller step in, I might scalp it for a little bit of a retracement, but if I buy up here, any seller step in, I'm caught with my pants down, and I don't want to do that. It's a lot easier to manage your risk on a short scalp after a big move. Set my risk. Okay. Music. Does it sound like some sellers, doesn't it? They're absorbing. Go to scalp opportunity here. Just kind of where that break even. Then take it right to point of control. So up 238. So this is just scalping. I mean, there's really no good setups here, guys, for big moves. So this is just scalping this distribution. So what I look for in that are these distributions to form on the profile, and you can kind of scalp them from the value area high to the point of control, or even hold it to the other side of value. Long here, they're easy to manage your risk because you know it's clear once it's trying to leave the distribution. So you just stop out. It's kind of a little scalping strategy. These are not the core setups. I mean, they are the core setups. It's the fade value area extreme, but it's just based on this distribution that we've formed here over the last, you know, half hour. You can see we're starting to go sideways. That's because we're accumulating or distributing up here.
As the Trump administration is open to ideas from other countries to achieve reciprocal trade.
So you can kind of see using the volume profile, you know, that's what's happening.
Facing US abuse of tariffs, China and India should stand together to overcome the difficulties.
Okay, so, you know, now we're at point of control. That is a natural profit target. If we can't get past the point of control, we can expect to go back to value area high. If we're able to break point of control, we could expect to go back down here to value area low on this distribution. Same rules, same setups, just based on this mini value area. This is, you know, hyper scalping. So, you know, this is an interesting area still. Value area high.
Early in phase one of the trade deal, but did not comply in large part.
Maybe this distribution here to go long, so
part of phase one of the trade deal, but did not comply in large.
You know, there could be a good long in here. So it's funny, you know, like people that trade moving averages, you know, it's not because there's a moving average there, it just happens to be there. The real reason is because there's no buyers or sellers here. It's a low volume node. That's why buyers would step in. We're down here. There it goes. Bounce off the point of control there in that distribution. Now it's still in value. This is not a breakout. It's not in price discovery on this distribution yet. Buyers stepping in. Very well could have been the bottom for at least a little while. That would be nice. My Roth thanks the market for finally putting in a little bit of a, you know, my Roth is up 4%. That's nice.
To address intellectual property and structural barriers to trade.
Okay. So still fading the value area high here. We're still building a distribution. We're going sideways. Now the best long here is going to be down here at the volume of this little volume node, or the peak of this distribution, which is a pretty big area. That's a 100-point area. We're just so volatile, you know, moving so much on this thing. We could always look at ES.
Australia representative Greer says about 50 nations
Let's
are
drop.
speaking to the US about tariffs.
So ES looks like a little nicer. A little bit of a friendlier range there.
Head of the US forces in Europe says his advice is to maintain force posture on continent as it is now.
A good long opportunity. See what happens. I'll be right back.
Greer says many nations have said they won't retaliate. Some have already lowered tariffs. Greer says China has not indicated that it wants to work towards reciprocity. Even on the S&P 500, just seeing a little bit of movement towards the downside. A little bit.
U.S. Trade Representative Greer, many countries have said they won't retaliate, and some have already lowered tariffs. Okay, initial balance is set, and the indexes, guys, those of you on YouTube, thanks for joining us today. The rest of the stream takes place. Doing great. Pass. Oh, nice, Orange. For the other day, he just passed a 50K combine. I tried your system on 3 of the trades. I'm learning more. Nice. And what are the numbers you use for your standard deviation range? So it's just one. One on the standard deviation on the VWAP.
Says we see distinct.
All right, guys, on YouTube, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to continue streaming in the Discord. There is a free link to the Discord in the description. I do a 7-day trial. You're welcome to join us in there. Check it out for the longer term version. Hope you guys manage risk out there. Stay sharp. And I'll see you guys in that Discord. For those of you on Discord, we'll keep